Mika Hakkinen, the Schumacher Slayer. I can hear a few die-hard Michael Schumacher fans typing frantically, calling me a moron before I even write this. Schumacher beats Hakkinen all ends up if you look at their complete careers. But what the heck? Call me something in the comments. It helps with the algorithm. And while you're there, make yourself useful and like and subscribe as well, if you'd be so kind. Obviously, the German is the GOAT, while the Finn couldn't come close to achieving what Schumacher did. I mean, 7 World Drivers titles to 2, 91 Grand Prix wins to 20, 155 podiums to 51. It's not even remotely close, not a contest. But for a few years, 4 years exact to be precise, Hakkinen was every bit on Schumacher's level, and in 1998 and 1999, Mika Hakkinen was every bit the Schumi Slayer, and these two magnificent warriors gave fans some unbelievable battles. Let's have a look at the man that for those few seasons tamed a prime Michael Schumacher. Lotus was a team with a rich history in Formula 1. Go look it up. A team that had won multiple championships and brought much innovations to the sport, but when Hakkinen joined them for the 1991 season, it was a far different team to the one that dominated under Graham Chapman, or even the team that gave Ayrton Senna his first victories in Formula 1. Lotus had been struggling for form for a few years, and funds were tight, tighter than back in the day when you wanted a toy and you asked your mom and she said no. Funds were tight. So tight were funds. Tighter than a 1980s denim shorty worn by your dad. That's how tight they were. Hakkinen made his debut at the 91 United States Grand Prix, qualifying 13th, but suffering an engine failure in the race. The man was not to be denied for long though, and he scored his first points with a 5th a few races later in San Marino. Lotus swapped Hakkinen's teammates quite a few times that season to bring in much needed funds, and Hakkinen finished the year 16th in the title race with 2 points. 1992 came around and the Finn managed to perform better than expected with solid mid-table finishes, attracting the attention of, among others, defending champions McLaren, who had the task of finding a competitive teammate for Ayrton Senna for 1993. 92's strongest team, Williams, also wanted him, and Hakkinen seemed poised to join the Grove outfit. Negotiations, however, ran into a rough patch, because due to intriguing by the Lotus team principal, he was stopped from going to Williams. He spoke to Ligier and McLaren, and after the Formula 1 contract negotiation board were forced to intervene, Mika Hakkinen was on his way to McLaren. Again, things didn't go as planned, and Hakkinen was relegated to test driver when they initially brought him in as a race driver, for being replaced by IndyCar hotshot Michael Andretti. The American only lasted till the Italian Grand Prix though, failing to impress, and Mika was finally given the chance he had been robbed of at the start of the season. He entered the Portuguese Grand Prix mid-season, well more towards the end of the season, and immediately out-qualified Ayrton Senna, pretty much the king of qualifying. The next race, Hakkinen claimed his first podium. His limited first season at McLaren saw him end only 15th in the Drivers' Championship, with 4 points for that podium in Japan. For 94, Senna buggered off to Williams, and Brundle came in, but the car was initially not very good. Battling reliability, McLaren had a solid final third of the season though, and Hakkinen scored regular podiums, ending the driver's title in 4th with 26 points, back when only the top 6 scored, and a win only got you 10 points. Yeah, where are those days? Bet you Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen wouldn't have 70 billion points in those days. But either way, hope was alive for 95. I'm a poet and, well, I guess now I know it. And Brundle was replaced by the legendary mustache-bearing Nigel Mansell. The car, however, was apparently too small, as both Hakkinen and Mansell, who was a bit chubby, complained of hands and elbows striking the sides of the cockpit. Before long though, the mustached one was gone and he was replaced by Mark Blundell. An average season was followed for McLaren, and Hakkinen almost left this world for the next when he suffered a massive accident at the final race of the season in Australia. He suffered a skull fracture, internal bleeding and an airway blockage, and his life was only saved by the frantic actions of the trackside medical team. His heart was reportedly restarted twice. Häkkinen finished that season 7th with 17 points. For 96, Häkkinen would be the senior man at McLaren, being joined by Williams reject David Coulthard. The car was a point scorer but not a title challenger, but a revised version of the McLaren, the MP4-18B, saw a marked improvement, and Häkkinen began challenging for and scoring podiums, finishing the season in 5th with 31 points. 97 started strong enough and the team scored good points early on, including a win for teammate Coulthard in Australia. In Britain, Häkkinen was in the lead when his engine blew, and then the same happened in Austria and Luxembourg, and he finished the year 6th, with teammate Coulthard 3rd after the disqualification of Schumacher from the World Drivers' Championship. I wonder why they disqualified him. I mean, all he did was try and take out Villeneuve in the final race. Would 98 finally be the year Häkkinen would score a Grand Prix race win? The Mercedes power unit was a speedy one, and if they could sort out the fragility, they surely had a title challenger on their hands. The arrival of Adrian Newey had made a huge impact at the team, and Williams had lost their Renault engines, so the main challengers were likely to be Schumacher's Ferrari and Coulthard and Häkkinen's McLarens. And so it was. Häkkinen won on Australian turf when Coulthard led him past, late on, honouring an agreement between the two of them that whoever would lead into turn 1 on lap 1 would be allowed to win the race. Brazil needed no agreements though, and Häkkinen won again, followed by second in Argentina. The title fight was on. San Marino saw the man retire, but 2 wins followed and another retirement in Canada. 2 podiums and 2 wins followed for Häkkinen, and in Hungary he ended 6th. Less impressive finishes were followed by wins in the final 2 races for Häkkinen to become the first McLaren champion since Senna in 1991, beating Michael Schumacher's Ferrari into 2nd place. Ferrari promised a furious challenge for 99 though, and Häkkinen retired in Australia but won in Brazil. He retired in San Marino and finished 3rd in Monaco, before winning in Spain and Canada and finishing 2nd in France. He retired in Britain, where title rival Schumacher managed to break his leg, thereby ending his title challenge. He would however be back 6 races later, and then Häkkinen scored a podium in Austria and won in Canada. In Germany, Häkkinen had a tyre explode and he retired before winning in Hungary, finishing 2nd in Belgium. The title battle was turning out to be between Häkkinen and Irvine in the Ferrari. A retirement in Italy and 5th in the European Grand Prix was followed by a 3rd in Malaysia. Häkkinen would go on to win the final race of the season to take the title ahead of Ferrari's Irvine and become the only Finnish driver to win more than one Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship. The other Finns from the tiny nation who have managed the incredible feat of winning an F1 title, of course being Keke Rosberg and Kimi Räikkönen. As a now double defending champion, hopes were high for 2000. But Häkkinen suffered an engine failure in Australia and an oil pressure problem in Brazil. But then he managed to fight back with 2nd places in the next 2 rounds before winning in Spain. 2nd followed in the European Grand Prix, 6th in Monaco and 4th in Canada, and that was followed by a 2nd place in France and a win in Austria. In Germany, Häkkinen was 2nd, and in Hungary he won to take the lead in the Drivers' Championship from Michael Schumacher. He then won at Spa and finished 2nd in Italy. A retirement in the USA was unfortunate, and that was followed by 2nd place in Japan, meaning that Mika Hakkinen had been defeated by Michael Schumacher in the title race. Häkkinen had proven the only title challenger to be able to compete with Schumacher consistently for such a prolonged time and come out on top for more than 1 season. Villeneuve and Hill both only won a single title while battling Schumacher, and Häkkinen managed to beat the German twice and push him all the way a 3rd time. Schumacher has been quoted as saying, and I quote, "Häkkinen is the best opponent I have ever faced. We may have fought hard on the track, but when the race was over I was amazed by his disciplined personal side. We had great respect for each other and let each other live peacefully." End quote. I remind you, Schumacher faced Ayrton Senna as well. he faced Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve. He would later face Kimi Räikkönen, Fernando Alonso. He would also face triple world champion Nelson Piquet and Alain Prost. And he singled out Häkkinen as the best he ever faced.
That's high praise!
2001 would turn out to be the final season of Mika Hakkinen in Formula 1, but the car wasn't quite up to the Ferrari's pace or reliability, and many retirements followed. Before the Italian Grand Prix, Hakkinen announced he would take a sabbatical for the 2002 season to spend more time with his family. He would be replaced by a young fellow Finn, Kimi Räikkönen, and ended the season 5th with 37 points. Hakkinen never returned from the sabbatical, and it would take McLaren until 2008 to win another driver's title and until 2024 to win another constructor's title. Häkkinen's head-to-head results against Schumacher included his uncompetitive years at Lotus, but in the 4 seasons they both had competitive cars, Häkkinen beat Schumi twice and Schumacher beat Häkkinen twice, a record no other driver was able to replicate against Prime Schumacher. Prime Schumacher. Not the bought-on Timo Schumacher that was whooped by Rosberg all those years later. And with that, we've reached the end of this look at the Formula 1 career of Mika Hakkinen, arguably the greatest Finnish F1 ace of all time. The true Iceman. Thank you for watching. Check out the channel for new videos weekly. God bless and goodbye.